To clearly see the difference between soil and dirt, let's observe a small and very familiar experiment. Here we have a slice of bread representing soil and flour representing dirt. The water poured over them will play the role of rain. When pouring water onto the slice of bread, you can see that the water is easily absorbed, while the slice still maintains its shape. Why is that? The secret lies in these air pockets. In bread, yeast creates a hollow yet firm structure. Similarly, in soil, billions of microorganisms are constantly working to create voids, allowing the ground to breathe and store water effectively. On the other hand, let's look at the flour, which is dirt. As soon as it touches the water, it starts to clump and runoff occurs. The structure is completely destroyed, turning into a sticky, compacted mass. If plant roots were in this environment, they would certainly suffocate from a lack of oxygen and have no space left to grow. From the experiment above, we can draw three key differences between soil and dirt. First, composition. Dirt consists only of loose minerals like sand, silt, and clay. In contrast, soil is a living compound made up of minerals, organic matter, and billions of living organisms. Second, structure. As you saw in the experiment, soil has a stable structure held together by biological glues from microorganisms, whereas dirt does not. And most importantly, function. Dirt is merely a material to hold a plant upright. But soil is a self-operating nutrient factory, capable of healing itself and nourishing life. It can be said that soil is the ideal habitat for plants to fully realize their inherent autotrophic potential. But is it enough just for the plants to grow well? In reality, the answer lies not only in the health of the plant, but also in the sustainability of the ecosystem, the quality of the food we eat, and the future of our climate. Specifically, reason 1. Living soil creates a symbiotic network that replaces chemicals. In dead dirt, plants are isolated and entirely dependent on fertilizers. But in living soil, the plant acts like an engineer managing a whole system. It secretes sugars to feed root zone bacteria and mycorrhizal fungi. In return, bacteria help release insoluble minerals, while mycorrhizal fungi attach to the roots to expand the nutrient-searching area by up to 7 times. This symbiosis allows the plant to self-regulate its pH and absorb exactly what it needs, helping us break the vicious cycle. The more chemicals we use, the more the soil dies, and the more prone to disease the plants become. Reason 2. Living soil creates humus. Humus is an incredibly precious organic compound created when microorganisms decompose plant debris. It doesn't just store nutrients to feed soil organisms. Along with roots and burrowing creatures, it creates a porous, sponge-like structure. This structure allows roots to grow deeper and helps the soil hold water exceptionally well during droughts, while preventing it from becoming crusty or compacted during heavy rains. Without humus, soil cannot recover, and the ecosystem will eventually collapse. Reason 3. Living soil determines food quality and human health. Biologically poor soil only produces nutrient-empty food. Only when the soil is alive are plants healthy enough to accumulate essential minerals. Therefore, nourishing living soil is in essence nourishing the quality of the meals and the health of your own family. The final reason, living soil is a solution for climate change. Living soil has the ability to sequester carbon within the humus instead of releasing it into the atmosphere as greenhouse gases, which happens in fields over-reliant on chemicals. This means every square meter of living soil you create doesn't just serve agriculture, it contributes to protecting the global climate. So, if you are facing a patch of compacted, depleted ground, in other words, dirt, how do we invite life back and transform it into soil? There are many ways to do this, but here are the 3 methods I find the simplest and most effective for you to start today. 1. The Lasagna gardening method. This method is perfect if you are dealing with ground that is far too hard to even use a hoe on. Instead of exhausting yourself digging, which only destroys the microorganism's habitat, we will build a new layer of soil right on the surface. First, simply lay down a layer of old cardboard to suppress weeds. Then, stack organic layers on top like a lasagna. Start with a layer of dry leaves or straw, followed by a layer of compost or well-rotted kitchen scraps. Especially if you are a coffee lover, don't throw away those grounds. Sprinkle a thin layer of coffee grounds between these layers. Coffee grounds not only add valuable nitrogen, but also significantly improve the soil's structure. The combination of cardboard and coffee grounds creates moisture and darkness, attracting earthworms to till the soil for you. Over time, these organic layers will decompose and blend together, creating a dark, crumbly, and rich soil without you lifting a finger to dig. 2. Compost tea. If your soil is completely depleted of life, use this method to inject a massive army of microorganisms directly into the ground. Take a handful of high-quality compost or worm castings, place it in a cloth bag, and soak it in a bucket of clean water, making sure it is chlorine-free. If you have an aquarium air pump, let it bubble for 24 hours to help the microorganisms multiply rapidly. To give this tea an extra kick, you can use leftover rice water or vegetable broth, once cooled, from your kitchen. These liquids are rich in starch and minerals, acting as a powerful fuel source to stimulate microbial activity. When you water the base of your plants with this mixture, billions of mycorrhizal fungi and beneficial bacteria immediately go to work, protecting the roots, helping the plants restore their self-sustaining power in no time. 3. Growing engineer plants, cover crops. This is the most sustainable way to protect and nourish soil long-term based on a very simple principle: never leave the soil bare. In empty patches of land, sow legumes or deep-rooted grasses like crimson clover, hairy vetch, alfalfa, and so on. As they grow, remember not to pull them out by the roots. Instead, simply trim the stems and leaves and leave the plant matter right on the soil surface. While alive, the roots of these plants pierce through compacted soil layers, creating magical air pockets. Once they die, the roots, stems, and leaves become a precious food source to create humus. This is how you let nature's engineers do the heavy lifting for you, instead of relying on machinery or toxic chemicals. Besides the methods I've mentioned, do you know of or use any other ways to improve your soil? Leave a comment below so we can all learn together. And if possible, start conditioning your soil right now, before the main growing season begins. Natural rainfall is a powerful ally, helping organic matter decompose more effectively and stimulating the microbial system to wake up sooner. I hope this video has helped you understand why living soil is so vital, and given you the motivation to care for your own garden. Healthy soil leads to strong plants, and strong plants ensure our own health. Wishing you a successful harvest, and I'll see you in the next videos.